PowerPoint or slides in general, whether it be Prezi, whether it be Keynote, or another program that is going to be invented tomorrow, regardless of what it is, they are becoming increasingly important within organisations and being able to get our message across. So to be able to do that and be able to function well when you launch yourselves into an organisation, you're going to need to be able to master the art of the slide. So some of the different examples I have here of where you might use it, it might be to help with an onboarding presentation. So if you're not able to be there to onboard people, they're able to look at the slides and get all the information they need. It might be showing clear team expectations, what we expect as a team, and the behaviours and attitudes we want. It might be a training session, an overview of the project, either for a project team or for a client. It might be the status of a particular project and how you're going, or maybe a report back on yourself. Maybe the findings of the project, research results, and data results. Data and showing data has become more and more important with PowerPoint and slides in general these days, as we're more data-driven and big data conscious. So really understanding how to communicate data is becoming more and more important. In preparing your presentation, you need to spend some time getting the structural design right. Like with an essay, you don't just dive in and start making the presentation. It takes time to craft it and go, yes, this is exactly what I'm going to talk about. The first thing is getting your SCQ and issue tree right. That gives you that main message of what you're going to talk about. So have a single or up to 3 main messages for the presentation. They need to be conveyed as easily as possible and making sure you can do it in a very succinct manner. And the message really should steer the presentation and ensure that you're going in one direction. The next part is about storyboarding. So there's 2 different ways to do this. The first way is the McKinsey way, I guess a lot of people call it, is that you have tagline after tagline after tagline after tagline. What is each slide going to say? What's the main point of each slide? And you read that through and it should read like a story. The second one is the comic strip approach, where you've got picture, 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 picture. It's got a general sketch of what the slide looks like. And again, what is the main message? Regardless of which path you take, it should read like a storybook. Every slide should have a purpose, and your slide should follow a clear storyline like your essay, so from start to finish. The other thing I want to put out right now is limit your slides. Using too many slides will confuse your message, and also it can take up a lot of time. Any extra slides that you have, don't delete. Put them in your appendix. So if someone in a presentation says, hey, listen, have you thought about X, Y, and Z? You can say, yeah, sure thing, I have. It's in the appendix. Let me bring this up. Or if they want extra information about data or how you've come to a particular conclusion. So something like an issue tree finds its way nicely into an appendix where you can refer to it later on. A good rule of thumb is about a slide a minute. If you're having less than that, you are really racing through the information. The first thing you must master, though, is how you're going to get across the message that you want. So the Minto pyramid principle. So we talked about this in earlier weeks. You've got your main message, your supporting conclusions, and your supporting arguments and facts. It builds out. The first thing, developing that main message. What is the main message of your presentation? So what in the case study are you trying to get across? If your audience doesn't know this by the first slide, then you've lost them. It needs to be really clear and they need to be able to recite it by the end that it is so drilled into their mind. So what is the answer to the problem? That SCQ that we've been talking about. The second one is about storyboarding your supporting conclusions. Identify the major points that you want to say under each of the main messages. So if it's something like how we're going to increase employee engagement, so it might be things like we're going to be talking promotions, we're going to be talking monetary rewards, we're going to be talking intrinsic motivators, we might be talking events, anything like that. Make sure that you've got links between the main message and your major points, and create taglines, which we'll cover in a second, that get across your message. The final thing that you should be doing then is creating the slides. So the taglines you've created go into the top of the slides and you use words and graphics to illustrate your tagline.